I'm a Black American. I have 5 children, and I'm a Black mom.
All right, let's get it popping. Okay, so what is your first memory of race?
My first memory, um, growing up, I was born in Brooklyn, but growing up in Brooklyn, I didn't recognize race. It wasn't until we moved to West Babylon that when I went to school, um, I was the only Black person in the classroom. And it wasn't too long after that when kids used to say things like, go back to Africa. And I didn't understand that. I was like, I would go home and say, Mom, what are they talking about? Go back to Africa. And then I recognized that it was about race. So it was in elementary school years ago.
Wow, how did that make you feel when they would say that?
At first, I didn't understand it. But then I felt like, wow. First of all, I wasn't born in Africa. I don't even know
Right.
anybody from Africa. So I didn't get
Right.
it. I didn't get it. But as time went on, I recognized that they just don't like you. So what are you going to do?
Hmm. So, growing up, did you teach your children about race as they were growing up? If so, what age would you talk to them about it?
I really don't remember t- giving my kids the talk, but I do remember saying things like, especially to my son, because he hung around a lot of white people. His friends were white. And I said, if you get stopped, believe me, you're going to have a harder time than your white counterparts. I would say things like that, but I don't really remember sitting them down and having that talk that so many parents had have to have at this time. I don't remember
Hmm.
that having
Um, I know before we started this interview, you were nervous because
that.
because you said you don't remember a lot of things,
hmm
but the audience is going to be like, why don't she remember? Because you don't look your age.
Oh, well, I'm a grandmother and I'm retired, so I'm not out in the world like that. I'm not um, confronted with a lot of racism and dealing with race because what do? I go to Walmart, I go to Stop and Shop, and then I come home. So that's pretty much it.
Do you want to share your age?
Okay, I'm 64. I'll be 65 in March.
Well, you're very young, but you don't look that age. But anyway, let's get back to this video. So, do you have a story where you realized that race deeply impacted one of your children? Did they ever come home and tell you something, or you realized, wow,
Mm,
where it really impacted them?
wow. I really can't think. We were blessed. We were blessed in a lot of ways. And I said I was so blessed that my kids never really, we never really discussed race like that. You know what I mean? We were just blessed. And I really believe it's because of my faith in God. I took my kids to church all the time that we weren't really confronted like that. And it wasn't compared to what we're living in
Mm-hmm.
now. So I don't remember them really being impacted by race,
Mm-hmm.
which is a blessing. A blessing.
Absolutely. So when something were to happen on the news, or when even maybe now, say if something happens, how does it impact you being a mom?
Um, I just I just pray that my sons, especially my sons, I don't know why I'm so worried most about my sons than so my daughters, but that they don't get hang out with the wrong people or they don't get in they don't do anything that maybe they'll get stopped by police. And I'm so blessed now that my oldest son, he has a girlfriend now, so he goes to work, comes home, and he's not hanging out with his friends anymore. And Mark, He goes to work, he comes home. They don't have that lifestyle where they hang out, they go to bars, they go to parties and all that. So I'm blessed that they're pretty much homebodies. So they escape a lot of trouble that others don't. So
How often do you talk to your children about race, especially now? And what are those conversations like?
um well, my kids are grown. I don't really they're grown with families, so I don't really discuss race that much with my children. I really don't.
So, what about in your home? Do you and your husband talk about race?
Well, we talk about how blessed we are and that we're glad that our kids are grown and that they can make decisions on their own and that they can watch and see what's happening in the world and make their own decisions and their own choices. But I don't really have conversations with them about that.
What about your grandchildren?
I don't have conversations about them, but I'm concerned about them because I went to their graduations. I went to like 3 moving up ceremonies and 2 graduations, and we go to a school where there's such a diverse population, but no teachers of color.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I don't get that. Why are there no teachers of color on Long Island? You can't tell me they don't apply for the jobs. Why why is there such a diverse group of students, and all they have to look at is white teachers and blonde hair, and no teacher looks like them. So that's my concern for my grandkids. I want them to be able to go to school and see somebody like them. That they know that I can have that too.
Hmm.
You know, but that's my concern. But they have their parents, and I'm sure their parents will steer them in the right direction or teach them what they need to know.
So, you feel like it's important for children to be able to look up to and aspire to be like someone
Oh my God.
who looks like them?
Oh, of course I do. And I said it's a shame because a lot of times a black student can't relate to a white teacher. A white teacher can't really relate to a black student because we experience things that they haven't a clue about. They're clueless. And a black teacher would be able to understand and relate to that student. you know? So it's a lot.
Okay. How do you think being a black mom may be different from being a white mom in America?
Oh my God. I mean, I really believe that so many white people are so clueless as to what black moms go through. They're clueless. You know, if you have a child that has behavioral problems for any reason, for a black student, that student may be suspended from school, sent home. I've even seen on the news where police officers are called for a 6-year-old child or something. But if that student is white, they reach out, they try to get them services. The school bends over backwards to find services for that child. But when that child is black, it's a whole totally different thing. So black moms, a lot of them are with single parents. You're dealing with things that white moms, they don't have a clue about. They don't know the struggles of an African American a woman. They just don't. And you try to tell them, but they don't know. They really don't know.
Did you see that a lot in your field when you were working? Because you worked in an academic setting, correct?
Oh yes, I was a special ed teacher. Oh, did I see it? Oh yeah. Oh, I saw. And the sad thing is, we could have a meeting, a conference with a parent, but because the parent is at work, she can't make the conference call. So the kid, there's nobody advocating for the student. So the student don't get the service that they need because the parent isn't there, and they're not going to run down the parents and say, oh, your child needs this, your child needs that. But if that child was white, they make special accommodations. They make sure they find that parent, and the parent is there to advocate for that child. It's systemic. It really is. And I've seen it all the time.
Wow. So do you think, what does that mean when you say it's systemic?
Okay, I'll give you a story. This is years ago. I was driving a school bus for West Babylon School District. And I had a coworker. She was there, and she was a single mom. She worked part-time. And she said, "Brenda, I bought a house." And I said, "Really?" I said, "How did you do that?" She said, "I had bad credit, and then the next day I didn't." And I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, Brenda, I'm going to give you the name of the real estate guy that I used, so you could do the same thing." And I knew right off the bat that if I went to that guy that helped her get her house, there was no way. I would get. He would think I was crazy. Matter of fact, he probably would have said, I don't know, Karen, what you talking about? I don't know. So it goes from buying a house. I really believe I've paid triple for a car that a white person wouldn't pay. The jobs that we get, I remember years ago, I wanted an office job so bad on Long Island. I mean, I had the skills. I had the typing skills, because back in the day you did typing. I had the typing skills. I had the telephone skills. I could not find a job on Long Island. No one wanted me in their office. And when I looked around, when I go to the offices, they're all white people. Where did I have to work? I worked at Montgomery Ward for years in the city. So I commuted from Babylon to the city for years, because in the city, there's a much diverse population. And I was in an office. But I couldn't find that on Long Island. So it goes from the jobs we get, the loans we get, the schools we get to go to. The elementary school, just like elementary schools now, in the poor neighborhoods, they get less funding. But in the white neighborhoods, they get the funding that they need. So
do you think that pushed you, or actually really forced you to go back for higher education?
Yes, it did. But I was blessed to get higher education. My husband was home to watch the kids. So I drove a school bus, went to classes, went back for my afternoon run, went home, fix a little dinner, went back to school that night. But because I had my husband home to watch the kids, I was able to do that. And how many women,
right,
they can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get, at that time, I was able to get the loans that I needed to go to school. So yeah.
So it worked out.
It did, thank God.
What do you think, this is the last question, by the way.
Oh, good. Good.
What do you think America could learn from Black moms?
America.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry about that.
America can learn that what Black moms want is equity. That's all. We're not asking for nothing. We want the same opportunities that you have. We want the same education that your kids have. And we're not lazy people. We work hard. We have more of a struggle than you have. And know that we love our children just as much as you love yours.
Well, that's a wrap. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Be nice in the comments, everyone. Bye.